Football is so much more than a single season. It's something you look forward to 365 days of the year. Just like Nationwide is so much more than a great insurance company. They're one of America's largest financial services companies, too. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side. Nationwide Investment Services Corporation, member FINRA, Columbus, Ohio.
Looking for the ultimate game night? Chumba Casino brings all the fun and excitement of a night out straight to your screen whenever you want it. Play hundreds of thrilling games instantly. No downloads, no delays. Just launch from your browser and dive right in. From spinning slots and playing blackjack to instant scratch tile cards or joining live social tables, there's always something new to explore. Signing up takes just seconds and you'll unlock a free welcome bonus plus daily login bonuses to keep the fun going every time you play. Play for pure entertainment or for a chance to score some serious prizes anytime, anywhere. And here's the best part. No purchase required to join or play. So what are you waiting for? Make tonight one to remember. Head to ChumbaCasino.com and bring the fun home. Let's Chumba. Sponsored by VGW Group. No purchase necessary. See terms at ChumbaCasino.com. Must be over 21 and present in a state where it's legal to play.
Looking for these better days.
It is Tuesday, September 23rd. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. The Lions with a statement victory last night over the Ravens on Monday Night Football. We'll take an early look at week number 4 of the NFL season. Plus, it's the final week of the Major League Baseball regular season, and a massive series begins tonight. Mackenzie Rivers joins me here on this episode of Better Day. And Mac, let's talk about this Monday Night Football victory by the Detroit Lions, 38-30. Now, the Ravens did score at the end, a meaningless kind of score. So maybe the game, if you look at the numbers, played out a little bit differently than the score. I mean, the Lions last night, 426 total yards of offense against this Baltimore Ravens defense. That felt very un-Ravens-like last night.
Well, we say that, although they did give up 41 earlier, and they weren't exactly blowing out the Browns. It's going to be easy, and tomorrow I think most people will say Lions are Super Bowl contenders. They are the story here on Monday Night Football. To me, I think the Ravens are way more vulnerable than we expected. Defensively, I mean, 295-plus yard long drive touchdowns. They really had no answers all night. And you could say it was, Lions were better than 38-30, but without that fumble, what probably would have happened is Ravens would have scored, and then Lions would have scored because that's what they did all night, and then they would have ended up winning by one touchdown either way.
Yeah, it felt like a very public game last night. Not so much as far as the favorite winning, but the over hitting with ease. And, anybody that you put in your touchdown parlays last night probably cashed for you with Jahmyr Gibbs scoring, Derrick Henry, David Montgomery with a big night, Mark Andrews, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, it was a night of, your parlays hitting. Our same game parlay did not hit.
So close.
Although we did cash the over on Jameson Williams' longest reception. He had a 24-yard reception. He finishes with 2 catches for 43 yards. Both catches came on the first drive of the game. And honestly, I thought the bigger sweat for us was going to be not the yardage, was the under 3.5 receptions. Because we had an entire game to go. But he didn't catch another pass for the rest of the game. Just 2 catches. He goes under 43 yards, goes under his yardage. Not by much, though. We only needed like 9 more yards or 8 more yards to go over this. And he does not score a touchdown. And like I said, though, as Jared pointed out on yesterday's show, split your bets between putting it on the parlay, but also doing the longest reception over, because that was kind of our handicap, right? Like, our handicap was that he's going to catch a long one, which is why we like the under receptions and over yardage. So it does make sense to split your units and put something on the longest reception, and he does cash the longest reception, and he has a 24-yard catch.
Yeah, only 202 yards for Goff, but you mentioned dominant offense all night. So what does that mean? It means 38 rushes for 224 yards. And then when you have the Ravens creeping up, trying to stop what's been hammering them all night, you get a few big shots over the middle. The script was kind of reversed because they had Jameson Williams on the first drive, but I think the handicap it was strong.
Speaking of, Ravens creeping up and then you hitting them over the top, what a play on that fourth down where Jared Goff hits Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, there was never a doubt that they were going to go for it, right?
Right.
You knew that they were going to go for it there.
They've scored 90 points the last two games. They were going to let their offense decide this one.
Yeah, and that's what they do. And then, of course, you get the David Montgomery 31-yard run, like the play after. But a 20-yard completion on 4th and 2 at midfield. And that was the play of the game right there. And what a great pass, what a great catch. Yes, there was a holding on the play, so even if it was incomplete, they still would have gotten the first down. But
yeah, it was a holding on St. Brown because he had beaten his man so bad off the line.
Yep. But just a great play. And now let's take a look at both of these teams, Mac.
Real quick, on that touchdown, they said on the broadcast, hey, doesn't matter. You want to score. Montgomery at the end of the game, matters for totals, matters for spreads. We just saw a 0.5% chance of a team to win and cover happen. Scoring and going up 14 is literally leaving a 0.5% chance door open for the Ravens. Could have happened, Go down, kids.
I honestly agree. And I had no dog in the fight, but I thought the same thing. Like, just slide down, the game's over, and you take the knees and you end the game. But because you know what, the Ravens did score. They scored. They made it 38-30, and as minuscule of a chance as they had.
Yep, one onside kick away from being
exactly one onside kick and one play away, and that was 29. Let's say they do recover that onside kick. They're at their own 45-yard line or whatever, or their own, it's like there's a shot, there's a chance. You never know. So, yeah, just go down and in the game. But let's take a look at both of these teams from a macro level now. The Lions, they lose that first game to Green Bay, which, okay, now we've seen Green Bay be dominant, but we also saw Green Bay blow a 10-0 lead with 3 minutes left and lose to the Cleveland Browns. But now back-to-back games for Detroit where their offense has looked fantastic against the Bears and the Ravens. Is everything now, are all doubts erased with the Detroit Lions? Was it just that 1 week running into a good team who is riding a high after acquiring Micah Parsons in the Green Bay Packers?
I think across the league, if you ask people what's 1 week that looking back on it makes no sense with the rest of the season, and we're going to say week 1. So given that, the fact that they scored 13 points in one game, all right, let's just put an asterisk in that. It's a glorified preseason game, week 1 at Lambeau Field. They've scored 90 points in 2 games. Maybe Ben Johnson, talked to people around the building and told them some of hey, we're going to go here, we're going to pitch. It works because of this pressure. Maybe that institutional knowledge is still there. They look definitely as good as they did last year when they set a record for points per game. They are now the 3rd favorite in the NFC behind the Eagles and the Packers. Hard for me to put anybody above them. No one's even really close, with the Niners dropping because of the Bosa injury and the Commanders also being 20-1.
The Niners, to me, would have been the play, and they've always been the play for me.
They're still the play. We're going to win one for Bosa.
I honestly think they are still the play. and I know we're taking a side from these two teams on Monday night to talk about the Bosa situation here real quick, but honestly, if it wasn't for the Bosa injury, you have Brock Purdy coming back healthy, you have Jennings coming back. You have Brandon Ayuk coming back, right? And you have the easiest schedule in the NFL. Look at the 49ers schedule and tell me where they're running into losses. Legitimately, there's bets that you can make right now on, team to finish, with the 1 seed or whatever. And they're 3-0. Yeah. The Packers have a loss. The Lions have a loss. Look at the schedule. Look at this schedule. Jaguars, Rams. Okay, Rams, tough game. Bucks, Falcons, Texans, Giants. The Rams, we know that division games. Cardinals, Panthers, Browns, Titans, Colts. This is a 15-14 win team. It's all there for them.
Everything that they've had to work with has been working. Defensively, they're allowing 14, 15 points a game. They just don't have the weapons. They don't have their quarterback. I think they're going to be there to contend with. And by the way, if you're going to have one tough game, I want it to be against the Rams. Shanahan won 9 straight games or whatever, 8 out of 9 against McVay. That would be, of all the good teams, not the Eagles, not the Ravens, maybe they're not so good. Not the Bills. I think everything's set up for a division win. By the way, the Niners were minus 110 before the Bosa injury. I mean, we knew that he was injured. We didn't know he was out after the win. Now plus 110 now that he's confirmed out for the season to win the NFC West. Rams plus 190.
To win 12 or more games, the 49ers are even money up on the FanDuel Sportsbook.
You can also get over 11.5. I don't even think you have to upgrade their power ranking. I think you should for their 3 wins, but I think you're right. Just game by game, it's breaking nice for them.
Plus 14,000 to go undefeated.
Well, hey, no one's ever won 17 in a row, but people have won 14 in a row. We're halfway there.
It's a great point. Just eliminate that. To make it to the conference championship round, and this is a bet. This is like what I would have, like obviously because I have the 49ers in the conference championship. Plus 350 up on FanDuel. Okay. All right.
Good to know.
We'll see.
What do you think? What are the Lions going back to them?
To go to the conference championship, the Lions are plus 310.
The Eagles, like on a lot of analytics have should have lost the last 2 games, if not all 3 games. I'm not sure. I mean, the Packers I definitely would have above the Niners and the Lions, but I'm not sure the NFC is as top heavy as it might look.
Packers plus 170, Eagles plus 150. You know what's crazy? The Baltimore Ravens are still plus 120.
The thing is, they were 1-2 last year. They were 8-5 to start last year. I'm actually interested in their division odds because they're definitely worse than I thought. But the Bengals are worse than I thought, and I think the Steelers are much worse than I thought. They're minus 370 to win the North at 1-2.
Yeah, I was about to say up on FanDuel right now.
Minus 370.
Minus
I thought I'd get a steal
minus
at minus
320.
200.
You get minus 320 on FanDuel. You get a little reduction there if you want to do that.
I don't hate it.
It's crazy, right?
If they let you parlay futures, maybe do that with Man City to win the Champions League. You got a nice little parlay there.
Or 49ers to win their division?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Here's what's crazy, okay? And as we talk about the Ravens, but we also take an early look here to week number 4. Mackenzie, the Ravens or the Chiefs will start the season 1-3.
Or they'll both start 1-2-1. That's definitely also on the table.
Could you imagine? You know what? You know what I would love to bet for that game? I want to bet yes overtime.
Okay, all right. You're just feeling the ties in the air. Potential ties in the air.
It's like what you probably get 10-1 or something like that odds, right? Let me look to see if they have that up right now.
Line. There's about 8% of games, 10% of games go to overtime.
Okay, let's see if we have. I don't think there's any game props on there yet, but they'll populate throughout the week. I'm going to take a look at those. Why not? Have some fun. But yeah, I mean, if I told you before the season that one of these teams starts the year 1-3, you would certainly be very surprised because they were favored in all 3 of their games prior to this game.
Yeah, and you look at QBR, for example, it's not like their 2 top quarterbacks are that far off. Lamar Jackson currently number 3, Patrick Mahomes number 5. I mean, no one's going to catch up with Daniel Jones in this particular stat, but their offenses have. I mean, the Ravens have been kind of great on offense, averaging 38 points a game. The Chiefs have been, I think, a little bit below expectations, but they have really high expectations. It's really been the Ravens' defense that has let them down.
Crazy. It certainly is crazy to see how this is going to play out here this week. Looking at that early line right now up on the FanDuel Sportsbook, we are seeing the Baltimore Ravens a 2.5-point favorite over the Kansas City Chiefs, and this game is in Arrowhead, Mackenzie.
I know. You go to the Super Bowl 3 straight years, AFC triple defending champions. You're 1-2, your opponent's 1-2, and they're favored in your building. No respect.
But you know what's crazy? I was on Neflo the other day, and I was looking at the home field advantage, right? And you would think how many times do we talk about Arrowhead being Arrowhead?
Yeah, the frozen tundra.
No, that's the frozen tundra's Lambeau.
Yeah, but it's cold. It's still cold sometimes in Kansas City.
but how many times do we talk about about Arrowhead being a tremendous home field advantage.
But what do the numbers say?
In the last 5 seasons, GEHA Field at Arrowhead is the worst home field advantage in the NFL.
That's very interesting. Now, the way that's calculated is how much is home field advantage helping you. So if you're the best team ever on the road, then your home field advantage would be bad. The Chiefs may just be above, getting up for any home crowd. It doesn't rev them up any more than going on the road does. Therefore, it's essentially a neutral field everywhere they go.
It is minus 3.96.
That's not good.
Yeah.
That is not what you want.
The number 1 home field is
I'm going to guess. Wait, don't tell me. Green Bay?
Ford Field, Detroit.
Wow.
A 6.69.
The turf. I mean, the way they play now.
Well, it's because the way they
did in Baltimore.
You're right. It's the way that they play. Number 2 is Denver, a 5.2 rating in the last 5 seasons. Number 3, New Era Field, Buffalo, 4.95. That's interesting. If we just look at the last 16 games, though, we have the Cowboys are the worst, minus 10.12. The Chiefs are the second worst. And over the last 16 games, Denver number 1, Ford Field number 2, Arizona actually number 3, and Washington number 4.
Wow, I wouldn't have guessed that in a million years.
But think about it. Last year, Washington was good, and they were winning home games.
Right.
So you're right. Like the way that this is calculated is looking at how much did you win your home games by, right? Like how have you done? And I guess if you look at Washington last year, it makes sense.
And there's different arguments to say, all right, last 16 seasons, last 5 seasons, whatever.
Well, I'm talking about last 16 games versus the last 5 years.
Yeah, versus all time. And you could say, oh, well, this is a new crowd. This is a new owner for Washington. I like to look at the larger samples because, it's very hard for the whatever noise is there or whatever signal is there to make it through the noise with only 8 games a year providing these samples.
Did Washington lose a home game last year? Yes, they lost to Pittsburgh 28-27. They lost to Dallas 34-26.
And they should have lost to Chicago, but that guy was yelling at the other people in the stands.
All right, let's take another early look here at week number 4 of the NFL. I talked about this on yesterday's show. I think the Seahawks are the play here on Thursday night against the Cardinals. I am not buying into.
You're not alone.
I'm not buying into. What'd you say? I'm not alone.
Yeah, a lot of money coming in on Seattle. Yep.
Yeah. Do we have any? Has there been any line change? Because it's still Arizona minus 1.5 on FanDuel.
It's pick 'em in other places, and if you look at the VIG, it's like plus 1.5 minus 105. This was 2.5 at open. Now it's essentially Arizona minus 1 or pick 'em.
Yeah, I think I'm not buying into Arizona. I think that if you look at their first 2 games, you can't take much because of the opponents that they played against.
Sure.
And yes, they covered against the 49ers. They shouldn't have. By all accounts, you look inside the numbers of that game. The 49ers should have won by a lot more than just one. They had the 4th and goal. They didn't score there. They had the safety.
Terrible pick by Mac Jones, driving to win the game, and we still made it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Alive.
So there was, they beat the yards per play, the success, all that stuff. So they should have won by more. So, and then I look at Thursdays, and yes, I know that home teams have the advantage, but home teams have the advantage later in the season on Thursdays, not so much early in the season on Thursdays. And then this is the argument I made on yesterday's show. When I look at a Thursday game, I want to know how the Sunday games went for both of the teams. Was it a tough game for you on Sunday that physically took a toll on you so that you are now banged up on that Thursday, that short week? Well, for Seattle, it was a glorified scrimmage.
It was 38-6 at halftime.
Yeah, you want to talk about, we mention this with pitchers all the time. There's a difference between the amount of pitches that you throw and the amount of stressful pitches that you throw. There was no stressful plays in that game. Meanwhile, Arizona went down to the wire against the 49ers. In a tough divisional game, you're battling till the final whistle. Come on. Which team had more wear and tear on their bodies on Sunday? It was clearly Arizona. not Seattle. So I don't think the Thursday. I think it actually benefit. I think Seattle's the better equipped team going into this Thursday game.
Although I guess the Cardinals have this great home field advantage, something I never would have guessed. According to Neflo's rigorous analytics. But again, short sample sizes. I think over time that'll balance itself out.
Yeah,
they're both 2-1. The Seahawks have like real opponents in all 3 weeks. I'm not sure the Cardinals. I mean, they faced Mac Jones, and that was close, but okay. They haven't really faced anybody, so I think the Seahawks are the side. I agree with you.
Yep. Any other games that jump out to you here in week number 4? We have the Dublin game between the Vikings and the Steelers. Now, this is one that I actually gave a play out on last year when this game was announced.
All
remember,
right.
we were doing a Dream Pod, and we didn't know who the Steelers' opponent was, but the NFL came out and said the Steelers will play a game in Dublin, Ireland. And I said, I want to bet the Steelers in that game because the Steelers will have the home crowd because they have a following there in Ireland, right? With the Rooney family and all that stuff and the ambassador, all that, everything. And so I think it's going to be a very pro-Steelers crowd there in Dublin, Ireland. Now it's Carson Wentz for another game with Minnesota coming off of a big victory. Certainly the market feels really good about them. Meanwhile, the Steelers are coming off of a loss. Obviously, the market feels very bad about them. Minnesota minus 2.5. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mackenzie.
Because Irish people like the Steelers? Like, what's the handicap?
The handicap is it's going to be like a home field for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I don't doubt that.
And I think that it's an overreaction to what we saw last week. I don't think the Vikings are as good as the dominance that we saw last week over Jake Browning, and I don't think the Steelers are as bad as what we saw last week. And when I say Steelers being bad, I know the Steelers, came away with the victory, but they should have lost that game. Like the Steelers got outplayed significantly by the New England Patriots.
Yeah, Patriots had 5 turnovers. If you look at the EPA on all those combined, minus 27 points. The only team worse in week 3 was the Cincinnati Bengals, who had 31 points giving up to the Vikings. So that means the Vikings probably aren't as good as they looked, but the Steelers are probably not as good as they looked either in a 7-point win. They probably should have lost that game. I am not high on the Steelers. That's why I think the Ravens at minus 320 is a good bet.
Yeah,
for the division.
Interesting. Maybe this could be a teaser spot. Get them up to 8.5.
Let's see what the total right now. I don't
40.5.
Yeah, I don't like the Steelers' offense very much, but there could be pick sixes, international game. I don't know if I have a great feel on that.
So the other thing that we have to talk about is a lot of people were when the first college football game was played in Dublin, Ireland this year, right? There was a lot of people that were saying, pay attention to the field conditions, right? Pay attention to the grass and what it's going to look like. And maybe it's sloppy field conditions. It's going to lead to an under. Well, let me just remind everybody, this game, although it is in Dublin, is at a completely different stadium, okay? The college football game was at Aviva Stadium. This game is at Croke Park. These are 2 different stadiums in Dublin, Ireland. So I don't want to hear Mackenzie, I give you permission.
It's a tore up grass. Goddamn college kids.
Yeah, I give you permission to, virtually slap anybody that you hear this week, give a handicap on this game and the total and say, you know what? I watched that college game in Dublin. That grass was terrible. I tell you.
As if the groundskeepers in Ireland have the same lack of work ethic.
Completely different stadium here. Completely different. It's like telling me the MetLife Stadium turf is the reason why the game's going to go under in Minnesota. So actually, no, that's a bad example because it's a different city. So let's say we need 2 teams that it can't be that both LA teams and both New York teams share the same stadium.
If they were playing baseball at Yankee Field and a game at MetLife Stadium.
Yeah, I guess that's cool. Or we can say, I mean, I guess like between Philly and the Meadowlands, that's pretty close enough to or even like maybe like Baltimore and Landover, you
Yeah.
know. So
The
pretty close
Ravens
enough.
practice facility is actually closer to the Redskins stadium than the Redskins facility is.
All right, so that's hilarious. So okay, that's like saying that yes, the turf at FedEx Field or the grass at FedEx Field is the reason why the Ravens game is going to go under in Baltimore. All right, different stadiums. Okay. Any other games jump out to you here for this week number 4 slate?
I think we're going to have a Marcus Mariota revival, and I think I'm going to be on the Commanders. I'm hoping it goes down to 2.5 when it's official that it's going to be Mariota. I meant to return, not a revival. He's already been had a revival. He's done 3 games with a 90-plus QBR in his 3 times off the bench. He's been great, arguably better than Daniels. It shows how much offensive firepower they have with Kingsbury. So I think they are solid favorites, win and cover at Atlanta, even if it is Mariota. I'm also, I feel like maybe I'm being prisoner of the moment, but how are the Lions not going to cover 9.5 versus the Browns? This was 10 last week, moved to 8.5 because we upgrade the Browns after a big win. Although the Packers had a 90% chance to win most of that fourth quarter, it was kind of like this mother of all flukes. And as you mentioned, the Lions have the best home field advantage recently. And I feel like if they're going to score 30 in their sleep, I'm not sure the Browns get to 20. I think the Lions might be the side there.
I know that it's like so tough, like laying points on the road. I think the Packers absolutely blow out the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
No
sounds CeeDee Lamb likely the way the line's moving, we think.
Yep. It sounds chalky, and it's like, you're just going with the favorite on the Sunday night game. This Cowboys defense, this is where I think we have to like honestly do a case study here, because we look at the Chicago Bears look great on offense here on Sunday.
Yeah.
And when you saw the way that the Giants played against the Kansas City Chiefs, and then you look back at that Giants game in week number 2 against the Cowboys, where Russell Wilson had the career game, and it was like watching them on Sunday night. That was a different team that we saw against the Dallas Cowboys, and maybe it was because the Dallas Cowboys are that bad defensively.
Yeah, one of these things is not like the other. The Giants scored 6 points against Commanders, 37 points against the Cowboys at Dallas, and then 9 points against the Chiefs.
Yep.
I got to think it's – Matt Eberflus is having a bad week. Not the best week to be Matt Eberflus and trying to get the Cowboys defense in line with the way the Bears are doing in your stead.
Yeah, and I just think like you're going to get a now focused Packers team coming off of the loss, and where in the month of September, Matt LaFleur was 17-3 ATS going into that game last week.
17-4 ain't bad.
Now 17-4 ain't bad. This is going to be a renewed focus here. Micah Parsons is going to have that team absolutely fired up. I think the Packers put up a big number here against the Cowboys.
Yeah, if they're up 7 in the fourth quarter, or if they're up 10, I'm less worried than I would in most games because of the backdoor cover, because they just saw it happen. And there's going to be that whole, narrative of trying to eviscerate your rival that you now have their best player.
Yep. So we will wait and see what plays out over the course of the week. Obviously, we're going to monitor all the injury status with the quarterbacks, and we'll find out more as the days roll on, and we'll talk more about week number 4 of the NFL season. Let's get to Major League Baseball, because we have a monster series that begins tonight.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's the final week of the Major League Baseball regular season, Mackenzie, and a monster of a series begins tonight. The American League Central is on the line. The Detroit Tigers, with an epic collapse here at the end of the season, now lead the Cleveland Guardians by just 1 game for the AL Central lead. In July, the Tigers had a 15.5 game lead. Earlier this month in September, They had a 10-game lead. Now it is a 1-game lead and 3 games starting tonight. Guardians and Tigers in Cleveland. Game 1 of the series, Tarek Skubal tonight goes up against Gavin Williams. The Tigers are a minus 160 favorite. Game 2 of the series, which is going to be tomorrow night, will feature Jack Flaherty against Tanner Bybee. And then game 3, it looks like it's going to be Parker Messick going for Cleveland, and the Tigers have not announced a starting pitcher just yet. So this is getting very, very interesting. I'm telling you, with all due respect to Tarek Skubal, who is the eventual American League Cy Young Award winner, I am not laying minus 160 on the road with a team that has played this bad of baseball in the month of September. Give me the red hot Cleveland Guardians at plus 135 to upset the Tigers tonight and pull even in the American League Central Division.
You can get them at plus 125 to win the division eventually. Man, the Tigers have lost 9 of 10. You have to think it's in their heads a little bit. All else being equal, I want the team that's not thinking, are we about to have the collapse of all collapses? I mean, I know the Giants in like 1969 came back against some team in New York, and the Giants won the pennant. Like, has there ever been, I can't remember at least in my lifetime, a team that had this big of a division lead that didn't make the playoffs or didn't at least win their division?
This would be amongst the top collapses in history. Let's see. It was so they led, as I look here at the calendar, on August 25th, they led by 12 and a half games. They were 9.5 games up earlier here in September, right? If we look at some of the biggest collapses here in baseball history.
By the way, it was the 51 Giants that came back to beat the Brooklyn Dodgers and win the pennant, back when only 2 teams made the playoffs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just put a pin on that. But anyway, what were the other ones?
Well, I remember when the Mets blew, what was it, a 7-game lead with 17 left to play or something like that. That was a massive blown lead for the New York Mets. 7 games on September 12th. They had the best record in the National League, 83-62 with 17 games left to play.
Voters are scrambling to find a new manager of the year because it's not going to be AJ Hinch.
They went the Mets went in that 2007 season.
Yeah.
They went 5-12 in those 17 games, and the final game of the year, Tom Glavine on the mound against the Marlins. Glavine didn't even get out of the first inning. He gave up 7 runs in the first inning, and the Phillies won the division, and the Mets did not.
It's got to snowball. It's exactly what we're talking about. In their heads in 2007, the Mets were thinking, are Scott and McKenzie going to talk about us in 20 years if we do this? Power of attraction. If all you're thinking is don't fuck up, you see what happens.
It's unbelievable. So here's what's crazy about this, though. There is a chance that the Tigers not only don't win the division, they don't make the playoffs entirely.
Yeah,
Think
it's like a 20% chance.
Yeah, because right now the Guardians and the Astros are tied for the 3rd wild card in the American League. So that's wild. And
the
I'm
Tigers
sweating.
are going to face the Red Sox next, so they could easily lose ground to them specifically.
Dude, I'm sweating out right now. I have a ticket on the Red Sox to make the playoffs from before the season, and I'm sweating this out right now because they're 85-71. Cleveland's 84-72. The Astros are 84-72. One of those 3 teams is not making the playoffs, right? And it could be the Tigers instead of the Guardians, but there's only 2 spots. So one of those 3 teams is out. Boy, I am sweating this right now, especially when you consider the Tigers play the Red Sox in those final 3 games. So how crazy would it be? Has there ever been a team, we got to look this up. Has there ever been a team that had a run differential over 100 and didn't make the playoffs?
That would be the
Red Sox.
Yeah, 105. Wow.
Like, has there ever? I mean, the Rangers are at plus 82, and they're not going to make the playoffs. But like, I'm curious. Like, what's the highest run differential to never make the to not make the playoffs in a single year? Wonder if AI can answer that for us. In the National League, the Mets. You want to
The
talk about it?
Rays, Reddit comes in to the clutch, 90 and 72 with a run differential of plus 120 and missed the playoffs. In what year was that? 2012.
Wow. Here's what's crazy. The Mets are currently tied with the Cincinnati Reds for the third wild card in the National League, but the Reds have the tiebreaker. So if the the Mets need to make up more ground here, if the Mets don't make the playoffs, not only is Carlos Mendoza out of a job, right? I think that's a foregone conclusion. But considering the amount of money that the Mets have spent, this is this is one of the biggest failures in baseball history, right?
ESPN currently has it at 50.4% that they'd make the playoffs. I can't remember looking at that number before a week ago where it wasn't 98%. I was even complaining with you on the show. Like, there's no way that the Mets and the Phillies don't both make the playoffs. Like, what are they even playing for? Like, it's kind of a fake race. Not to be.
I just think, like, I think that this would be the biggest failure in baseball if they don't make the playoffs. It just makes they spent so much money, and to their credit, like it's well, I can't say it's working out because like it they're not going to make the playoffs or they couldn't make the playoffs. But I mean, like Juan Soto's having a career year, so like he's not the issue.
Yeah.
The pitching is the issue. The pitching's the issue, which you thought was going to be a strength of the New York Mets.
What about Verlander and Scherzer? Are they doing anything?
Yeah, I mean that's
Tried that, I guess.
unbelievable. So let's talk about, and the Diamondbacks are one game back as well. I think that would be, we've talked about that before, an incredible success story if they are able to make the postseason. Yankees trail the Blue Jays by 2 games for the American League East Division, but it's really 3 games because the Blue Jays have the tiebreaker over the Yankees. So Yankees do have a lot of ground to make up here in the final week of the season. So here are the games for tonight, the games of importance for tonight. Talked about that Tigers game against the Guardians. I like the Guardians plus 135. The Reds host the Pirates. Cincinnati is minus 160. Brady Singer's on the mound for the Reds. Johan Oviedo for the Pirates. I like the Reds in this spot. You got the White Sox at the Yankees. Luis Gil for the Yankees and Shane Smith for the White Sox. Yankees heavily favored, minus 240. Red Sox are at the Blue Jays, so Boston can certainly help the Yankees out here. Lucas Giolito on the mound for the Red Sox. Kevin Gausman for Toronto. Toronto's minus 160. In these spots where I see like 2 playoff contending teams, like in a big game, I almost always want to lean towards the dog because I think there's just value. Like plus 135 is nice. Like I'll take that on the Red Sox, But in a situation where I'll lay the 160 with Cincinnati because they're going out to win and Pirates are playing out the strings,
Right. And there's manager decisions about what to do in September that you see the haves and the have-nots kind of separate this time of year.
Exactly. And it's like, actually, can you look that up real quick? Give me favorites in September.
Yeah, let's check it out.
Go back to 2021 and give me favorites of minus 150 or higher in the month of September. I bet you it's like an absurd number. The Mets take on the Cubs in Chicago. David Peterson for the Mets. Cade Horton goes for the Cubs. It is Chicago minus 120. And then you have Mariners host the Rockies. They should dominate that one here. Diamondbacks host the Dodgers. Brandon Pfaadt for Arizona. Shohei Ohtani for the Dodgers. Dodgers are minus 160. Astros at the A's. Christian Javier for the Astros. And Jeffrey Springs goes for the A's. Astros minus 115.
So about 63% winners, which makes sense because you're minus 150 or greater since 2021. But I went back since 2012 up to 65%, and you're just losing money, but less than the VIG. So it's like you're winning 12 out of 21 instead of 13 out of 22 or something. Something where if you you're pretty much breaking even, which is better. Sometimes you could do worse.
All right. What about on the run line? How do those favorites do?
On the run line, only cover 48%. So.
Wow. Okay. Interesting stuff. All right. You can follow Mackenzie on Twitter at @MackinRivers. You can follow me at Scott's on Air. And also want to remind you guys, we have a new feature up on betterday.com. And also we are including this in the newsletter as well. We are starting to work with some sports books to get you guys some promos. So if you want to sign up right now, we have promo codes for Rebet, for Underdog, and for Kalshi. So if you want to go check out on the website, there's a link for sportsbook promos. And you don't even have to be a member of the website to go check out that page. Just go to betterday.com, click on the sportsbook promos, or in your daily newsletter that you're going to get in your email this morning, that you got in your email, your Better Day newsletter, scroll down to the bottom. It'll have a link there for all the sportsbook promos. You click on that link. It's like a one-stop shop. So that link is a dedicated link for us and for you, like my audience. And what you do with that link is you select the state that you're in. So let's say you live in New York, you live in New Jersey, you live in Pennsylvania, California, whatever. And when you select your state, the sports book's going to come up that's available in your state. So you don't have to go, looking around everywhere. It's a pretty cool feature. So again, you can click on that link that'll be in your daily email newsletter, or you can just go to the individual sportsbook links on the sportsbook promos tab up on betterday.com. So we want to get you guys the best offers that you can get out there, and we'll bring you, I am working hard to bring you more sports books over the next coming weeks and months, and as we progress throughout football season and the baseball postseason and all that stuff. For Mackenzie Rivers, I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy and focused. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.